Welcome, everybody, to this special session of Gaming with the Geeks. Now, people might be a little confused here. You don't see controllers, and you don't see a TV.
And you actually see our faces.
I mean, holy crap. But here's the thing that's going to blow your mind. Because there is somebody out there that doesn't get this time. Back in the day, we used to play games on a board.
Or at the very least on a table.
And they were called board games.
Or tabletop games.
Or tabletop games.
Because we don't actually have a board with the game we're playing tonight.
For all the hardcore D&D fans out there. And so tonight we're actually going to be taking on a very unique concept, which is, since we are all of a creative sort, we're going to be taking on the Writer's Emergency Pack. And I'm just going to warn people in advance. Hilarity's probably going to ensue because this is basically us writing our own story.
All right. To explain and to show for the people, let's make sure it's actually... Okay, it's a frame. This is a tool developed by screenwriter John August, whom some of you may recognize from the Script Notes podcast, because I reference it a lot on the show. And it's an idea meant for writers who are dealing with writer's block, who aren't sure how to move on with their script or how to approach things, how to finish it. As you can see, it's got various illustrations and ideas to explain, to kind of give you things to think about when trying to approach writing a script. Now, the reason we're pulling this out is because it comes with a game in addition to this wonderful, wonderful stuff we have here. And that game is a game called Cards Against Normality. Now, Cards Against Normality plays pretty similarly to Cards Against Humanity, where you have the SAR, or in this case, the storyteller. At the start of the round, the storyteller tells a story, just as is. So if I were to choose a fairy tale, I would tell the fairy tale as is, and each player would then play, on their turn, would then play a corresponding card, and then tell their version of the story based on the card they played, implementing the idea as suggested on these cards.
And I think it's a good idea for us to point this out right here and now. So first of all, my voice is a little out there, so if you guys can't hear me, let me know. We'll work on that. But also, the sky's the limit here. We're not limiting things. People can reference whatever they want, as far as I'm concerned. In fact, I have a feeling that a lot of Geek News-esque references are going to make their way into this game.
Yeah. And for those of you who are wondering, like with the writing applications, you don't have solely the illustrations. They do come with these nice, very handy explanation cards that go into a little more depth, explaining like how you would think about the various applications of the various meanings, and they come with really cool like illustrations. You can currently get it for $20 on the John August store. So
yeah,
let's actually look at the rules. Okay, so each player draws 3 illustrated idea cards at the start of each round. You should have 3. The oldest player is the first storyteller.
Crap, the old fart gets brought in. All right.
Yeah. Each round, the storyteller begins telling a story. It can be a familiar tale, an anecdote from real life, or something completely made up. When the storyteller is finished, players have 15 seconds to choose one of their idea cards, placing it face down. Moving clockwise, each player retells their original story based on their chosen card, describing their version in as much detail as required. After hearing all the versions, the storyteller chooses the best one and awards a plot point. The player becomes the storyteller for the next round. So yeah, it's like Cards Against Humanity, except we have to go in a little bit more depth. So, First things first, we gotta shuffle.
So basically, I'm the dictator of the story at this point? Or,
yep.
Oh, crap. There's gonna be lots of raccoons then. Raccoons and dinosaurs. Perfect.
I am not good at shuffling.
It's alright. It's one of those things that actually makes me kind of sad, because I used to have an automatic shuffler. And I got rid of it because it started emanating like a smell every time I shuffled cards. And all my Yu-Gi-Oh cards kind of got ruined by it. Yes, I had Yu-Gi-Oh cards at one point, all right?
Who didn't, really? It was either Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, or Magic. The only difference is Magic is still more or less around.
Which, in a lot of cases, Magic didn't work for me because Yu-Gi-Oh actually looked like, something out of D&D for me. So
yeah, and in my case, it's just more... I didn't have the kind of money to spend on all of the card games at once.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've already, I still have my card collection to this point, and I have spent quite a bit of money on it. And I probably will not get anywhere near that back.
Yeah. And this is basically our roundabout way of saying, don't expect us to do a Yu-Gi-Oh episode of this, because...
I summon the Dark Magician!
Alright. And now...
I have pulled out the card that I needed. Before I use it, though, I'm going to tell you my entire life story. I was born on January the 22nd, and it was a stormy day. It was actually kind of snowing at that point, but nobody really gave a crap. I was born, and I cried, and Daddy never, ever paid attention to me, and then expected me to run a card game, a military company, and I decided to run it like a card game.
So is that the story you're gonna start us off with? Because I couldn't quite follow.
That's all right, because we went into commercial break like 3 times in the meantime.
All right, so we have our 3 cards. So Adam starts us off with the story.
Okay, but here's the thing. My brain is kind of gone. So at this point, I'm actually going to reference it to the stuff that we've already been talking about, because that's in the frame of mind. So we're going to make Jurassic Park 5. Does that work?
All right, so start us off. What is the original story of Jurassic Park 5?
The original story of Jurassic Park 5 is very simple. Nobody has learned their lesson, and now the dinosaurs are used in military application. And B.D. Wong has immediately become a mad scientist, and now he is resurrecting his dinosaurs from the grave, because they have more use out of them. So I guess that's a good premise, isn't it?
Okay.
Okay.
So it's dinosaurs and zombies, and dinosaur zombies.
All right.
There's no way that can fail.
All right. I've played my card, and you don't have to play a card since you're the storyteller, so it's basically just between me and Alex.
All right.
Okay, so I just play a card.
Yeah, you got like 15 seconds to decide, so just...
All right.
All right. And so, Adam, you'll do us the honors and flip them off. Just flip them off within frame of this. Let me make sure.
Okay.
Okay, it's in frame. There you go.
So, we're going to do Romney's card first.
All right, switching genres. Now, many people may expect that it's going to be the popcorn sci-fi version of the Jurassic Park, but instead, we're going to use the dinosaurs as a metaphor. They're going to be a metaphor for the power creep of all the various weapons. The idea of kind of tying it to nuclear destruction. So we've created all these dinosaurs that are being used as weapons. Cities, people, the whole world is pretty much going to hell because it's all been decimated because one person has all the weapons. And all these nations have asked for bigger, badder dinosaurs, leading it to go higher and higher. And it gets to the point where there's nothing left. As such, you're then left with basically people trying to survive. You have dinosaurs roaming all over the planet. The humans are just barely holding on because you've just got these predators that have gotten out of control.
All right.
And so instead of having it be, oh yeah, like there are military applications that you have basically just giant dinosaur fights back and forth, like it's not like Gundam with dinosaurs. You instead have it where it's now basically Mad Max after dinosaurs have taken over the planet.
With Gundams. I like that now.
Except not necessarily with Gundams, it's just more Mad Max, Dawn of Planet of the Apes, humanity now struggling to survive in the face of these dinosaurs overtaking it. And actually, to make it even more interesting, as the main character, we have Dr. James Wu, played by B.D. Wong. Now he's on a quest of redemption. He's trying to find a way to get the world back to normal because he sees the error of his ways. He sees how far amok he's gone. And so now he's now on a journey to redeem himself, a journey to try to help humanity survive in the face of it, trying to come up with something to allow humanity to rebuild, to get back to some semblance of society, some semblance of normalcy.
All right. So I think that's a lot to amount for, Alex. So at this point, Alex, you played an imposter. So someone is not who he seems. Perhaps it's an ally, or maybe it's just the hero.
Okay, imposter. Continuing off of Romney's theme, the imposter is actually our main supposedly what would be our main character. We don't know it's B.D. Wong's character just yet. We think he's still the mad scientist. We think our main character, who's apparently just trying to survive in this post-apocalyptic hellhole, is our main heroine. Yes, it is a woman. And she's just trying to survive. She hunts down dinosaurs occasionally for food, or for meat, or skin, or whatever. Maybe just a hawk on the black market. Then she comes across Wong's character.
If you mention the name Everdeen, you're done. All right.
Shut up.
We got that
Shut up. And, so she comes across his character, and the two just decide to team up to hopefully reconcile this horrible dinosaur land that we're stuck in now.
Okay.
But here's the twist. She was really not interested in eradicating the dinosaurs. She wants to control the dinosaurs herself now. she was really just pretending to be a simple mercenary character just trying to survive.
No,
She's always been on the inside for the whole thing. And that's my story.
So we have a female big boss, basically.
All right, so now it is Adam's time to decide which story is the better one. Who is the winner of this round?
Can I fuse them together? Because that really just kind of came to my mind.
Well, unfortunately, we need someone to be able to decide at a plot point who will be the storyteller for the next round.
I think just for the silliness factor, I have to go with Alex's because you're portraying a female big boss and a dinosaur outer heaven. So at that point...
So to mark that Alex has won a plot point, whoever is awarded it will get all the cards that have been played.
All right.
So Alex is now in the lead with 1 point, and now he is the storyteller for the next round. And now we deal out cards to make sure... Don't mix them in with like the ones you actually have.
Okay.
Basically, it's like a discard pile.
Yeah,
okay.
just put it in there.
Like face up, just to make sure we don't...
Face up. Right.
Yeah. So like imposter and switch genres mainly.
Okay.
All right. And I deal you one, and I deal myself one. And now, Alex, you are now the storyteller.
Okay.
So this is a brand spanking new story.
Brand spanking new story.
Okay.
Can I play a card?
No, you don't play a card.
Don't play a card. Okay.
Yeah, because since you're basically the SAR, you're the one who decides like the story, and now it's up to me and Adam to put a spin on the story that you initially tell. So,
okay. My story takes place now in outer space. Millions of, not billions years into the future. Much like any, I don't know, sci-fi anime here, Gundam, whatever. And there's some sort of unified space force. Well, one day, a lone ship comes out of the darkness of space. No one really knows what's on it. So an investigation team is sent aboard. Our main hero, he's a young lad, much like any of us here, maybe. Smart, intelligent, creative, witty, but also one badass Marine. He comes upon the ship with his crew, and upon exploring, he finds a containment cart. What's housed inside when he wipes off the glass? It's a young girl, perhaps his age. Maybe a little older, maybe a little younger. We don't quite know. It's human in appearance, but who really knows what's on the inside? And that's my plot point.
Okay.
all right, so that's his story. Hardened Space Marine finds a mysterious spaceship, and on board finds a girl encased in a containment unit. So we now have 15 seconds to... All right. And now as the storyteller, you flip the cards face up.
Okay, we've got start the clock.
So deadlines force characters to make choices. How can it be now or how can it be now or never?
All right, Adam, what is your story that involves start the clock?
So basically, the girl that he discovers is actually the queen of a conqueror race. In fact, she's almost like a vampiric race. She's almost like the Wraith from Stargate Atlantis, and they need humans to survive. And now that a human has discovered the ship, that's perfect for her because now she knows where the humans are. She knows where a feeding ground is, and now she can wake up the entire ship, and her entire civilization has food again. And she can dominate the entire solar system and be able to have her own way of life. And she becomes the dictator of the entire solar system and forever is immortal. The best way to look at this is that I could go past the villain, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. And so this is actually all, since this is an anime, right?
Yes.
It's an anime. This is all an allegory for the fact that human evolution has gone way out of control, and now humanity needs to return back to nature. I just told the plot of Blue Gender.
Okay.
All right.
So flip the card.
Mm-hmm.
Magnify. Up close, everything looks different. Zoom in. Focus on a moment or a detail or an emotion.
Okay, here's my take on the story. Same basic premise, a hardened space marine finds a mysterious ship and finds this mysterious woman on the inside. The first thing that he immediately notices is that the woman looks like his long-lost wife, who died in a previous mission. It's not like, oh, she was someone waiting back home. His wife was, like, fought by his side. She was a comrade in arms. And so the first thing he immediately notices is that this girl that's in this containment unit looks exactly like my wife, who I haven't seen in forever because she died on a couple missions past, like talking like 5, 10, maybe even 10 years, because he's been in the field for quite a while, so he's become a little bit jaded. And upon like bringing the containment unit aboard and upon like bringing the girl out, she has no memory and basically has the mind of a child. The last thing she remembers is a vague image, like she describes basically a red balloon floating in the sky. And so he gets kind of attached because not only does this person look like his wife, but she's more or less like a child. So he kind of feels the need to make sure that she doesn't get herself in trouble. And so he becomes focused on, because maybe the idea is, well, what if this is my wife? What if she didn't actually die? What if this is her without a memory? So let's find the place where this memory happened and hopefully find some answers. And so he decides to bring her back to Earth and basically begins showing her like various aspects, not even necessarily aspects related to his life, but just various smaller things about humanity that she just is completely amazed with, because it's like she's never seen this stuff before. Like, she's never seen a running stream of water. She's never seen an airplane flying in the sky before. And as they get a little bit closer, as he shows her more and more of the world that he initially thought mundane, that he initially had lost hope in, he realizes that there is this sense of hope, this sense of this idea that that life isn't as bad. That maybe it's like, okay, well, I may have seen the absolute worst of the universe, but it kind of reminds him of why he was fighting in the first place.
I know what life is all about now.
Exactly. And that it gets to the point where he's kind of uncovering the memories, and it gets to the point where over the course of getting to know this person, it kind of becomes a case where he's no longer trying to like find out if she's his wife. She's since become her own character, and as such he grows attached to his character. Not necessarily in a romantic way, because again, she's got the mind of a child, and as such he kind of view her as such. And as such he more or less decides to stay on Earth and leave the whole marine business as a result, because he realizes that, well, life here, like the moments here, the moments I've been spending with this person, the moments that I've been spending here on Earth, these little things are far more important. I've seen enough of the far reaches of space. I want to stay here on Earth and build a life with this new person that's come into my life and reminded me what's important. That's my story.
Very good, very good. Boy, it's a tough choice between you two, because Adam had a great idea. He's just a little more space horror, and admittedly, a little bit like Alien. And Romney
that's cool, because it was like I literally based it off of Blue Gender, so that is Alien,
right? And Romney has a lot of heart and a lot of optimism, so I'm gonna give point to Romney.
Ooh. I was gonna say, because his idea was basically like Interstellar in a way,
kind of Interstellar, a little bit of Oblivion.
Yeah. So
all right, and so new turn.
The points are tied.
Points are tied between me and Alex, and now I am the storyteller.
All right.
Whew. This is going to be tough. What's a story I can use? Okay. Oh, I've got it. We find ourselves, it's modern day, we find ourselves at a museum exhibit, and they've unearthed this volcanic rock that was found in the middle of England, which is not a place many people would expect to find volcanoes. And so you have these two girls. They're basically more or less interns at the college that run this museum. And as they're transporting the lava rocks, helping oversee it, one of them accidentally drops a rock, and it splits open. And what do you find in the pieces of rock? A golden ring with mysterious engravings on it. They're not quite sure why these two students suddenly find themselves transfixed on it. They just see this ring that was hiding in this lava rock, and they think, oh, well, that's there, but it has this kind of allure to it. They're drawn to it. They're not quite sure what it is, but they want to know more where it came from. And so one of them decides on a whim to just put it on, and she turns invisible. And so while she's invisible to everybody else, she sees the world all distorted. She sees everything weird. She almost sees the true essences of people. And she then sees that, okay, well, some of the people that we've been working with at college aren't the greatest people in the world. But as a result, she goes very dependent on the ring. And so it's up to her friend to try to find out what this ring is and how to basically lift this curse off of her friend that's basically made her so obsessed with the ring to the point that she's basically become withdrawn, paranoid, not trusting of anybody, because she sees everybody as untrustworthy.
Okay. Let's see.
All right. Let's start with Alex's card. So, that was lucky. Let your hero succeed through pure dumb luck. Just make sure the pendulum swings both ways. So, what is your spin?
Okay, so evil magic ring has friend corrupted. So how do we get rid of this ring? If she won't take it off willingly, we can't seem to get it off at all. She won't even take it off when she wants to take a shower. So, how do we get it off? Well, it just so happens she loses a finger. A little morbid, I know, but that's just pure dumb luck. Not because the protagonist takes a knife and chops off the finger. Not because of anything really special. She just gets her hand crushed in some machinery one day. Boom, the ring is off. It's gone. It's lost to who knows where because it gets all ground up and crushed.
All right.
All right. And now, Adam's card. Fight the giant. Your hero will have to face her adversary at some point. Why not right now?
So we have this whole story that the ring is basically obsessing over. She's obsessing over it. She's paranoid over it, but also it's infusing a little bit of power into her, and so she is evolving to some extent. She is becoming more than she was, and therefore she has more knowledge. She has more insight. She has everything that she needs to basically take over the world, and on top of that, she has some, dare I say, ethereal powers, because she can delve into the ethereal world and she can take it back with her and actually have a weapon that nobody can fight against. Now, her friend, she has no idea how to fight this off, and she does the only thing that comes natural to anybody in that situation: run for your life. And she goes into seclusion, and she just doesn't understand how she can possibly fight against this prospect while her best friend is basically taking over the world. But while she's off on her journeys and trying to stay alive, she comes across an old shrine. She doesn't understand how this could have been here and nobody could have found it, but it's there. And it just so happens that in the middle of that shrine, there is another ring. And this ring is not gold in nature, but it's more of a white hot silver kind of thing. And eventually she starts to hear voices. And the voices are not malevolent in nature. They are more helping. They understand the plight that she is in. And the only way to be able to counteract this is for her to put on that ring and be able to, and she will have the one thing that can bring her friend back. So she puts on the ring. It endows her with powers that are where her friend's ring was more ethereal, more darkness. Hers is more light. And at that point, she has the power that she needs years later to confront her friend. And in order for her to confront her friend, they have an epic battle where light and darkness literally go at it. But then she realizes that this can only end one way, that her friend has to die. And she doesn't want that to happen. But that's okay, because the ring itself has another solution. And that is that eventually the ring flies off her finger and immediately tries to meld with the other ring, thus canceling the two powers out and therefore restoring balance back to the world. Everything is as it was when they first found the ring, except this time they know not to unearth the ring.
Very good.
Very, very good. And to me, it seems a bit more obvious which one is the winner, because although with Alex, it could be kind of seen that through sheer dumb luck, that maybe through some sort of avarice, they end up losing their finger. Adams definitely feels a bit more fleshed out. Like, there's a much more clearer vision here about where to go with it. And I do like the idea that everything gets reset back to normal. So this round goes to Adam. So it's a 3-way tie.
All right.
All right, let's make sure this is still rolling. Okay.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm not using my cards. So, story. Give me a second here. Sorry. So the story is that humanity is at peace. Everything is going as well as anybody could have imagined, but all of a sudden, they start hearing weird rumors of off in the east that there is this new race or army that is actually coming out of somewhere. We don't know where. It's literally out of the bowels of the earth, or nobody can confirm that. So they are coming out of this, and they are basically slowly making their way conquering this world. They've gotten some footholds, and they've had some skirmishes here and there, but it's obvious that there is no real difference between them power-wise. It's not like they're aliens and they have much better weaponry. They're very much equal on every ground. So at that point, it is up for mankind to try and figure out how best to handle this threat while at the same time not losing so much ground that their own resources are being utilized by this other race, because they're taking the resources and they're taking them back to wherever they came from. And that does not help out the overall world. That's it. To the people who actually got what that story was, shut up.
Well, we've played our cards.
All right, so I think this was Alex. Not my job. Give your hero new responsibilities, including a chance to prove herself. All right, I have a feeling there's going to be a female protagonist in this one.
Yes. Okay. So, my character is one of these, a simple merchant just living out her life. She's happy and content the way things are. Things are just fine. But then suddenly, of course, this mysterious race now has appeared and is causing all kinds of chaos. She's never picked up a weapon in her life. She's never done anything. But she knows people, that the military, that whoever's in charge here should be able to handle the situation. Well, the big brass up top has quit and just says, whatever, not my job. And so, what now? The townspeople that she lives in, they look to her as sort of inspiration. They trust her. They like her. And she decides, well, I guess if nobody else is going to do this, I got to do it now. She picks up the weapon and she goes off to fight. She maybe tries a little diplomacy at first, but when diplomacy fails, she has to get into, well, aggressive negotiations.
So she's a Jedi. All right.
Maybe, maybe not. And that's my story.
I like that. It's a little bit of a Joan of Arc kind of story. So, all right, Romney, what is your proposal to this threat?
Flip the card.
All right. Talk it out. If your hero and the antagonist had an honest discussion, what would they say to each other? All right.
All right. In this story, our main character is a doctor. When they first appear, he's currently doing Peace Corps work in kind of an area like the Philippines, Indonesia, Southeast Asia. And basically, we see the first arrival, but the story really begins in the wake of a very terrible, cataclysmic battle where there's massive casualties both on the sides of the normal people and the sides of this new race. Like, complete damage on both sides. And although it ended in favor of humanity, there's not much known about it. And so this doctor goes into basically the country or stronghold of this other race. And he notices that the resources they've been taking aren't stuff like metals for like creating weaponry. It's stuff like water, it's stuff like plants, certain specific plants that many people were thinking, well, why are they taking these plants? Well, it's because they're very important plants for medicines. And so the doctor is going through seeing that the people of this new race in this country are really, really sick. And so the people going in aren't an invading force. They're a scout force. They're going into this territory because they're looking for a specific type of herb to cure a specific illness. And there's a very intense language barrier that he tries to get past. I mean, he first manages to communicate that he's not hostile. He has no weapons. He shows that he has a medical bag. And he gets into the good graces of the leader of this foreign race when he manages to show, when he points out, okay, we have an illness kind of like this that your wife is dealing with. And it turns out that it's a variant of the flu, a very dangerous one, but one that they're familiar with. And so the doctor basically becomes kind of the William Adams liaison to this leader. He's kind of part warlord, part king, kind of like a shogun. He's basically kind of the Ieyasu Tokugawa of this race. And so he's explaining to people, look, you don't have to fight us. We are not your enemies. If you work with us, we can help try to cure your people. But we need to work together in order to make sure everybody gets what they need. Given how cataclysmic this battle was, at first, like, people aren't very trusting, but this doctor basically negotiates and tries to say, let us help each other. Let us stop killing each other. Let's exchange resources. Let's work together, because it's obvious that you need our help and we need your help to rebuild in the wake of this very terrible battle and this terrible loss of life. And so, like, working in conjunction with this race, the doctor helps find the herb they were looking for, but then also helps, like, by studying the virus that these people are suffering from, that it's basically like the flu on crack that basically also has symptoms of all these other diseases. They don't quite exactly find a cure, but this doctor helps broker peace between the two nations as he tries to help cure this illness. And it ends kind of on a note where they don't quite trust each other, but these two factions are no longer trying to kill each other.
Okay. Wow, this is a tough call. Because I like both of them, because you have a Joan of Arc-esque story there, and you have a doctor that is trying to broker peace. And so at this point, given the premise that I was actually trying to go for, Alex's kind of fits a little bit better. So, Alex gets the next point.
Okay. All right.
Because I'm assuming I still have kind of a say on how the story goes.
Mm-hmm.